it going. Guess what? We've been waiting for this all year. We've got tracking snow. This is what we wait for right here. Pretty exciting. So I got about an hour before legal time ends. So I'll probably hit a few roads and see what's going on. I'm pretty pumped. Again, I don't know if I've mentioned, I'm kind of pumped. It's fun stuff. It's alright. I gotta settle down and pay attention. Gosh, the roads are holy smokes. Yeah, you think a quick little jaunt up a road I chased a buck across last year. I just saw Partridge fly across the road. See if there's any sign in here. They cut near this area, so I'm not sure. We'll see how that affected it. Could still be some deer coming through here, and could not be. So let's see what's here. I see some old ones here. Couple old sets there. Melted off probably last night. Now, nothing fresh up in here. Keep looking. Well, look who it is.
I thought, who is coming down at this time of night?
Where's the deer?
Well, he's not in the back of the truck.
See any deer?
Three. Yeah.
Any bucks?
Yeah.
So what seems to be
2 seconds. I caught him in his bed. He's laying there looking at me.
Wow.
I brought up my rifle to shoot him. As soon as, I mean, it was a snap thing. I look over, there he is in the wide open, laying there, see the whole deer. Of course, the minute I saw it, I brought my rifle up to shoot it, knocked the safety off at the same time, and he took off.
Fire at him?
No. Nope.
Very big?
No, not very big. Big enough. Big enough. 2 seconds.
Oh,
He'd have given me just 2 more seconds, I'd have had him.
All right.
Yep.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's getting cold.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Okay, we'll meet you back at camp. All right, you can give us a full story?
I'm going to give you the short version because I'm pretty tired. You
didn't work today.
Oh, I worked hard. You can hear it in my voice there. I went further than an old man ought to go. Picked up the track. I think I started tracking, Paul, at about 10:07, 6:50. And the 3 that I picked up, they looked like they were the freshest. And it had just it wasn't a huge buck, but it looked like, the biggest track on the hill. So yeah. I started tracking that. And I don't know what time I caught up to them. They went down, Paul, and where they always do, they cross a little brook. They start up the hillside, and you know that road that runs the base of the hill, right at the very base of the ridge.
Yeah.
They hit that, and all the deer went to the right. And the 3 that I stayed on, they never left sight of it, but they would go below it, and then they would go up the hill 100 feet.
Yeah.
Then they'd go below it. And I blew my grunt call maybe 4 or 5 times as I tracked them. It probably wasn't an hour and a half. I don't think it would be 2 hours. And I come through it, and there was, they run some big skidders up the side of that hill, those big ruts. Yeah. I had just come through one of those, and I was up the hill maybe 75 feet up the ridge. And the road, that old trail was below me that skirts the base of the hill. And I come through one of the skid tracks that goes up the hill. I just come through there, and I look down, and he's laying there looking at me.
Bedded down.
Bedded down. See the whole deer. There's some whips and stuff in between us, but I could see the whole deer. So that immediately I went to raise the gun, knocked the safety off at the same time. The minute that butt of the stock hit my shoulder, he was gone. The minute he got up, there was a doe right behind him. They were almost together, and that's probably one of the reasons I didn't fire at him. She took off with him, and then there was one off further to the right that ran to the right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I gave chase, and that second chance that you sometimes get.
Didn't get it?
No, they saw me too well. They knew what I was. They were
convinced.
They weren't curious.
Yeah.
They didn't go 200 yards or whatever and stop and look back. They ran. Hit a deer trail, and they, like I say, they took me into and why do they always go away from the truck?
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Right straight away from the truck the entire time I tracked them. So,
well,
yeah, I gave up the chase early afternoon. Started the walk back to the truck. It was a long walk. So,
well, tomorrow.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
2 seconds?
2 seconds. I needed 2 seconds.
Well, sometimes you don't get it.
Nope. He didn't let my eye get to the scope. He was kicking up leaves.
Tomorrow will be a good day. Spent the good part of the morning trying to find some deer tracks, huh?
Yeah.
There's some decent tracks. So we came across a spot that has quite a bit of deer going back and forth. There's some new cots. What's your plan?
I'm just gonna go down into the cut here, Paul. Poke around. See what I can see.
Yeah, there's a nice set of buck tracks back there going in the corner. You're not wasting any time, are you?
What do you want me to do? Twiddle my thumbs? I'm here to hunt.
Nice morning.
Oh, it's a beautiful morning.
Didn't get as cold last night is what they said, so
No.
it's 28 right now. Alright, I better get geared up. I spent too much time in the truck this morning. Alright, we got several sets of deer tracks going across this road. Dad just went in up there. And there's a decent set going down the side of the road here that I'm going to go in on. Biggest set I've seen today. Goes in here down by the corner. I don't know what happened last night, but I feel like my right eye is scratched. I don't know if it happened while I was sleeping or what, but I woke up and my right eye's kind of irritated and a little bit blurry. Of course, it's going to be your shooting eye, but whatever. So anyway, we'll go get in on this. So all those deer had gone into a little crap hole there. So I'm just circling around that. So I have to trudge through that and I'll see if I can pick up their tracks over here in the backside. Beautiful morning. We wait all year for this. Good stuff. So I'm following a buck and a doe right now. And they're heading right into the wind. We're actually back across the road. And I'm going into an area I want to go into. that I think has quite a few deer in it. Another nice buck coming down across this cut. Again, the wind's right in my face, so it's just perfect. So I'm going to adjust this back and then get down in there. But I better keep my eyes peeled. A lot of deer going back and forth. Deer down there. Okay, let me explain what's going on here. So I had just come across this cut and crested the knoll, and you can hear me on the video say, man, I feel like I can see a deer here pretty quick. And I get to the top of this knoll where I can see a pretty good distance down into the corner of this cut. And I take a chance to just reposition my pack. And the sun's at my back, the wind's in my face. Perfect scenario, right? And all of a sudden I catch the glimpse of something off to the left. And it was bone. And it was antler. I could see antler from about 300 yards away with the naked eye. There's a nice buck. But man, it's a long shot. So I spend the next hour or so, it's a long ways away, and I can see deer down in the corner of this cut, and I can tell it's a nice buck that's in the middle of a bunch of does. And I can't really say how many does are there. I counted 3 at one point. So I spend the better part of an hour trying to find a place to get into position to get a shot at this deer. And of course, I'm not set up for long shots. I'm a deer tracker, and most of my shots are up close. So one of two things are gonna happen here. I've made the decision that I'm gonna take my time, try to get into position to get a good shot. There's no whips, nothing in the way, and I have a good solid rest, and I'm confident I can make the shot. Or two, the deer and those does are just gonna feed off, and I get a fresh deer track that I can spend the rest of the day playing with. So it's a win-win. Oh man, there's all kinds of whips. All right, I gotta get in that position here. I keep losing them. All right. This is gonna be tough. There he is. This way, buddy. Okay, I'm not sure where he went now. Son of a gun. a hell of a shot. That was a long shot. All right, I just made a long shot at a deer. We'll go see if it's down there. Whew. Okay, so I just shot at that buck, and he went down pretty hard on the first shot. Was struggling to get his feet under him. He went down to the right and then circled around the back part of the cut. And what he ends up doing is, you'll see when I go down, I find blood, and I have a heck of a blood trail. And that deer cuts around the back part of those woods in the back part of the cut, comes out across the cut, and now he has the wind in his favor. The wind's going across my shoulders towards him, and he heads right straight down across that cut. All right, we hit our buck. And I'm thinking, when I'm following him across this cut, I'm like, I got a heck of a blood trail. He's gonna be a couple 100 yards and we're good. It's over. And I'm thinking, my pack's down here on a stump. I'd left it from where I originally shot. And wouldn't you know it, that buck walks right directly past the stump that I'd shot off him originally. And my pack's sitting right on it. It was, I mean, right in front of it. You know, hindsight being 20/20, if I would have stayed right there for 30, 40 minutes, he would have gone right by me, basically point blank range. And I could have shot him again. All right, he's still motoring. I got lots of blood. Luckily, he went right by my fanny pack, right where I left it, so I'll grab that. We get all day. Catch up to him. Still lots of blood. I think we're just about an hour into it. We'll catch up to him. So we've now come into the opposite side of this cut. The wind's in his favor. And what he ends up doing is he beds down in the corner of that cut. And when I came back up over that knoll, he'd smelt me before I could see him. And he takes off into some mature woods and beds down just across the stream. Lots of blood in his bed. I still have an excellent blood trail. Now at this point, recording the hunt is becomes second. I'm solely focused on I need to get this done, and I need to catch this deer either bedded down or waiting for me, and just seal the deal, get it over with. So I stayed there. I gave him about 30 minutes to an hour, and I kind of thought it through. What am I gonna do? I have to work the next day, so I've got tracking snow, good blood trail. I know the deer's hit hard, so I have to make a decision, commit to that decision, and plan on it being successful. No second guessing. I can't let doubt dominate the situation. So I make the decision that, yes, I'm gonna stay right on him, and I'm gonna get another shot, and I'm gonna efficiently and effectively get this done. It's gonna be a done deal. Well, this deer had another plan. All right, we've been on him for a couple hours, and he's not feeling too good. But geez, he's staying just in front of me. So I'm gonna give him a little more time. Only got like 2.5 hours left. So I continue on the deer, and I can see at this point, the deer isn't bounding like it was before. He's hurting. He wouldn't go over any blowdowns. If he did go over a little blowdown, he was dragging his feet. And then we come to a spot, to some mature woods, and from a distance, so when I'm tracking a deer, I'm always looking, I actually look way ahead to try to see where their track is going, so I can kind of keep my eyes up instead of looking right down in between my feet. And so I can see out in front of me that he went into this little mature growth of woods, and it looks like he bedded down right there. I could see a packed down portion in the snow with lots of blood in it. So I come up to it, and it's on all kinds of roots and stuff. And I'm like, boys, a deer wouldn't bed down right here. That's just not typical. And I look a little closer, and there were some jack firs and whatnot kind of covering up the snow right there. And you could see where he face planted. He was stumbling and falling down. I'm like, all right, it won't be too long. But now at this point, I'm running out of daylight. So I move through this section of woods, and I see him coming to an opening. And it's a beaver bog. Just before I get to the opening, the sun is at my back now, and we've actually almost done a full loop, and we're coming back towards the original cut at shot him in. The wind is now in my favor, blowing into my face. Before I step out into this opening, into this beaver bog, there's a bunch of swale grass and stuff like that. Before I step out into that bog, I'm thinking this would be a good spot for him to wait on the other side of that bog to see whatever it is that's following him is still following him. He can see his backtrack out across that bog. So I stay in the inside of the woods, and I'm trying to look across that bog onto that other bank of big woods. And I can see beyond that bank, it's bright, so it looks like there's another cut we're coming to. And so I'm trying to look along that bank, and the sun is shining off the cedar trees on that opposite bank. And I can't see in there very good. It's very dark. And I'm just like, man, this is a good spot for him to wait, to see what's going on. So I picked it over real good. I couldn't see anything, or so I thought. And the minute I step out into that opening, I see a dark figure of a body going up the bank. And I couldn't get a shot at him there, but I see we're coming to a cut. So I sprint across that beaver bog, water's flying everywhere. I go right through the middle of it, run up the bank, and I get to the edge of the cut and I'm looking, and I actually have skid trails running down for me across this cut. And I'm looking, and pretty soon I can see the back end of a deer just going to the right off the skid trail, about 200 yards away. I'm out of breath, freehand, and I let two go at him real quick, and I don't think I hit him, and he disappeared. He was gone. So it's just about getting dark. We get out to the road, and he had actually gone down the road quite a ways and then went into a cut. My father had actually saw him around the corner on this road. My father had gone way up on a knoll to try to get cell service, and actually we thought it was about a half mile away, but we went back and drove the truck down to see exactly how far it was from the knoll down to the corner where he saw the deer, and it was 1.1 miles. So how he saw that deer walking down the road at just over a mile away is beyond me. We got to figure out where he went into that cut, and it's getting dark. I made a few phone calls, and I got some coverage for the morning, so we decided to leave him for the night and come back the next day. All right, so it's the next morning. I left that buck last night. He kept bedding down and was bleeding. So we left him for the night. Hate doing that. There's coyotes, bear, and now we're just trying to locate his track going into this cut. So the following morning, we're back out there. We know he went into that cut. We have no snow on the roads, and the cuts have basically lost the majority of the snow. It's just patchy. And the cuts are terrible, very full of slash. My first plan is I'm walking the edge of that cut along the road in the woods where there's some snow to try to figure out where he went in, pick up his track. Well, that's not working out because I can't. There was a bunch of skid trails, and it looks like he probably went into one of the skid trails. And his track is through these cuts everywhere. I mean, there was back and forth. To try to do this as efficiently as possible, this is a huge cut. I'm going to walk the entire perimeter of the cut in the woods where we still have snow. And I'm figuring out he at least made it across the cut. If he didn't, then I know he's in there. So I walked the entire perimeter of this cut. And it basically took all morning. No sign of the deer leaving it. And I had good snow, so I was confident he did not go across that cut. So just to do our due diligence, I had to go to work. Dad went down to the right on that road and went into the woods and just kind of finished off that loop to make sure that deer did not go down the road and hook back in to the woods that we had just come from. And so that evening, Dad confirmed, no, I couldn't find any sign of him in there. So we basically have narrowed it down to the fact that he's in this cut. This cut is big, and there's a lot of junk in it. Slash, it's terrible. And so we know he's in that cut someplace. Well, I just got word from Dad that he found the deer. It's been a tumultuous couple days. So he went out this morning, first thing, and being a smart outdoorsman, saw a bunch of ravens down in the corner. And he went right straight to it and found the deer. So he calls me this morning. I was at work. Of course, I haven't slept for 2 nights. And it's been eating the heck out of me because you don't want to not recover a deer. First thing he says to me this morning, he's like, I found your deer, and you may want to call your taxidermist. So I guess we'll go find out how big it is. He says it's going to be hard to get out. Yeah, just pretty grateful right now. Feel pretty blessed. That Dad stayed out there and kept looking, and you never give up, because we've just basically in a systematic way worked our way down to it has to be in that cut. And it's a big cut. There was a lot of area to cover, and all the snow was gone in that cut, and it's a mess. There's nothing but slash everywhere in that cut. So I'm gonna go meet Dad. He's been hunting all day. He covered the deer for me, put something over it so nothing would bother it, and we're gonna go get the big buck out. So yeah, I feel pretty relieved, so stay tuned. You don't know where I could find a big buck?
Yep,
Do ya?
I do.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
You found it this morning.
I did. You know, yesterday when I came, I see some crows and stuff, but they were real high, so I didn't, they were making a lot of noise and they were real high. Today I came, the same thing. And I thought, well, I'm going to walk down where Paul said he shot the deer, where I thought you know, I've never been there where you shot it, but where I thought it was.
Yeah.
That you, and so I was going down over the bank, and when they flew up from the ground, and
Like,
8 or
there
10
it
of
is.
them, I
Yeah.
was 100% sure. I said, well,
So minus the bird damage, what do you think it weighs? Guesstimate?
you mean what it weighed if it hadn't been eaten on?
Yeah.
Oh, that deer, if you told me it was 250 pounds, I'd believe it.
Well, we'll go find out.
Dressed weight.
Oh my God.
It would have been 250.
Son of a gun.
Little rock on that.
Jesus Christ. Big wide rack. It's a big deer.
It is a big deer. Like I say, it's probably the biggest deer I've ever been part of.
You shot one 240 and you're saying it's
Yeah. This is the beginning of the season. He's prime, Paul.
great big fat chest on him.
Everything about that deer is big. Boy, that's a nice rack, Paul.
Sure is.
What are you going to do next year? My best effort now.
Oh yeah, of course you will.
Just a minute, just a minute. Okay. Oh. What'd you like best about that?
Oh Lord. Took us what, 2 hours? I said 8 o'clock. 8:11. I was off by 11 minutes.
How are we going to get him up here?
I'm gonna get right up in the back and pick it up.
Okay, Dave Coker.
If Dave Coker can do
Just
it,
slide right in.
they practically jump in themselves.
Where's Dave when you need him?
uh,
We gonna lift it in, are we, Paul? Yay!
oh, big old buck. Huh?
That, well, is what it's all about, as Dave would say.
Yeah.
That is a monster.
That's
Right
a Portage
there.
Brook monster right there.
That is a nice buck.
Oh,
They might come bigger than that, but not very often.
no.
Probably as big as you can ever hope to shoot right there.
Well, we made it back to camp. Late night last night. It was quite the tumultuous 3 days. I'm glad we recovered it. We got it out. A lot of the hind end is eaten out of this deer. It's the biggest bodied deer that I've ever laid eyes on. The frame is just huge. We kind of guessed it probably weighed, what, 250 pounds?
I would say conservatively, Paul,
Yeah.
it could have dressed out if it had its hind end. The hind end's completely gone. So.
Completely gone. So we're just thinking easily it was 250 pounds. We weighed it and it was 210 pounds with no rear quarters. So it's a big buck. And this is the time of year that you can shoot deer and they're basically their healthiest. They're going to be their heaviest. Early November, it's much easier to catch them than say Thanksgiving week. So that was a good year. We've got one more buck to shoot now. That was a good first week.
up, Bo.
Thumbs up.
He's trying.